Hello and welcome to The Exit presented by Flippa. This is a 30-minute podcast featuring amazing entrepreneurs who have been there and they have done it. The Exit talks to operators who bought and sold businesses of all different sizes. You'll learn how they did it, why they did it, and get exposure to the world of exits. It's a world occupied by a small few, but accessible to many. And on this special episode, I sit down with Pam Theodosakis, and she is the co-founder of prAna. This is a really cool clothing line that was actually born from her and her husband's thought processes around climbing. They were really obsessed with climbing and they needed clothes that could be versatile. They could get around town, they could go shopping, and then they could also go climbing. So really great story of how things got started with Pam and her husband and growing this over the course of a long time, selling to Colombia for $190 million. That's right. So one of the interesting things about this conversation is that Pam walks us through an actual buyback. So they sold the business in 2008 and then bought it back, or they bought it back in 2008 after selling the business to Liz Claiborne. So a really fascinating story here where someone actually exits a business, buys it back, and then goes to take it from $30 million to $100+ million, and then exiting for $190 million. So there are some pretty fantastic knowledge nuggets in this episode that Pam walks through. Great tips and tricks for all of the young entrepreneurs out there that are thinking about hiring their first hires and who they brought on first that were really important to them, all the way to their first salesperson that bought a computer himself and they paid him back for it later. Really fantastic story. So without further ado, let's jump into this interview here with Pam, the co-founder of prAna. All right, guys, I am joined today by Pam Theodosakis, and she is the co-founder of prAna. How you doing, Pam?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this. So before we get into prAna and your exit, let's talk about your background. What led you into business and starting a company?
Well, I had a lot of different, stepping stones in the journey to starting prAna, but I was a professional skier, and then I became a flight attendant, and I was a prolific shopper. I, traveled to Europe once a week for like 13 years. And my husband and I knew each other. We grew up together, basically. He was my brother's friend. So we had always been friends. And they say marry your best friend, and I did. And then we got married in 92. And that's actually when we started prAna. We had just a love for climbing and yoga and the outdoors. And there was a need for, something to wear, because in the beginning, there was no such thing as yoga clothes, that whole trend started then. But the climbing world was well underway, obviously, heavily in Europe. And what they mostly wore was like very tight, shiny, bright lycra. And if you were to go climbing at the crag and then get in your car and drive around, or God forbid you had to get gas, you'd look like, somebody from another planet. And that look, vibe, and feel wasn't something that attracted us. So we started making clothes that worked for everything. You could go to the movie, you could climb a crag. They all had, functional features in them. We started with basically kind of a unisex thing, and then graduated into women's, which skyrocketed into a whole nother world. But my husband ran the marketing and the sales and, the branding. And I ran all the design, and in the beginning did all the books and shipping. And then slowly we started hiring employees, and we really truly built the business around our life, and created family while also starting our own. But it was a family environment. It was never like a work thing. And we just had such a great just a great vibe there that people loved to work there. And it never felt like work for other people either, because it was just fun. And so, yeah, we started that. And it was just, just a very easy thing to do, because it was so much passion involved. And same with all of our employees. We had most of our employees for 20 years. When they started, they never left. But that's in 92, we started that. That's
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What were the initial hires? I think that's a question that we get a lot. I get tons of messages about like, who do I hire as my first employee? Who do I hire as my, first 5 employees? What would you recommend for people as their first hires?
Well, I think the best thing to do is figure out your strengths and weaknesses and what you're good at and what you like doing, most of all. And my husband and I both didn't really like the sales thing. So, we love the interaction with people, but so we hired our first employee, which was Damian Clore, and he just, he ran with it. So he ran sales. He actually begged my husband, to buy a computer. And he was like, Beaver is like, why would we want a computer? And he said, well, to just, that's when the first remember the blue Mac first came out. And so he bought it with his own money, and then we paid him back. But we just liked the in the out box, on top, everything on paper. And so he actually really got the ball rolling with that one. And then the next one we hired was production, to start helping, cut and drive to and from all the sewers. And, this was specific, obviously, to the clothing business. But after that, then we had a, warehouse QC person. And a lot of it was about the structure of building clothing, and doing it right. And so many mistakes happen when you make clothes. It's shocking, the littlest thing, like if you use the wrong thread, that whole batch is ruined, or, because it needed to be a stretch and it wasn't. And anyway, it could just be a numerous amounts of things. But so quality control was kind of our big thing. And then we slowly hired, another salesperson. Then we got a designer. I did the design for 18 years and built a really fun team of designers. But, slowly by needing people, we never had sales reps. We only had in-house people.
Hey guys, Steve here, and taking a quick pause from the interview. I know that selling a business can feel unattainable and just out of reach for everybody, but it's definitely something that is very reachable for people that are listening to this podcast with Flippa. And I've mentioned that this show is presented by Flippa. They have over 3 million users on their platform who are looking to acquire everything from content sites to e-commerce stores to SaaS platforms or even mobile applications. So if you're curious and want to know more about what your business is worth, head to flippa.com/theexit for free valuations on your business. It takes a couple minutes to literally go through, and you can just go through the whole process without committing to anything at all. So once again, flippa.com/theexit, check it out, get a valuation on your business without any commitments, and just see exactly what your valuation of your business is worth. So let's dive into the interview.
So, yeah, interesting, different way.
Yeah. So fast forwarding to the exit, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
In terms of the how this came about, how did the conversation start, and how did that initially get discussed?
Well, it was kind of interesting actually, because we were I don't know, we were up to about, we never got a partner. We got a line of credit from Wells Fargo that we continually paid off to help us grow. So not having partners was huge to us. And we never started this company to sell the company. We, a lot of people, that's their mission now. Like, how can I get out of this and make a bunch of money? But that wasn't our mission. But when we had our house on the line, we had 2 kids, we had everything leveraged. And Beaver's like, and we should think about selling it. Why would we do that? And he said to lighten the load, like take some chips off the table. And I was like, oh, all right, because we were all in it. It didn't really matter. We got the company to about 30 million on our own. And then in September 05, we did a deal with Liz Claiborne, who in, hindsight, I'd never in a million years thought would be a fit for us. I didn't even really want to walk upstairs to meet them. And surprisingly, it was the most amazing fit. And the team of executives were mind-blowing. They, from Paul Sharon to Angela, who was design director, and the resources that they had. It was just dreamy. And I don't know if you know Angela Ahrens, but they headhunted her slightly after for Burberry. And then Burberry went and more than quadrupled sales, went to just like blowing the numbers out of the park. And then Apple headhunted her. So it was just a really good group of people. But sadly, they were shortly all headhunted or retiring. And then a lot of the things in the market started to shift. And the Macy's and the big box things were all, really changing. And they had to restructure their company. They had 34 brands that they had under an umbrella. We were with Lucky Jeans, Juicy Couture, Kate Spade, and us. And we were all on the West Coast brands. And so they allowed us to buy the company back in 08. So we did that. And this time we're like, okay, we bought it all back, but then we're like, let's get another partner. And so we did that in 08 and then made strategic plans to grow and then sell again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So sold and then bought back. That's a
That's a different one.
Yeah, that's really unique though. What was the drive to buy it back? You wanted to really gain control again and take it to the next.
Yeah, because it was too short. It was only like 2 years, that they had the company, and they were super cool to us, and they were super apologetic and allowed us to buy it back. A lot of the other brands just got shut down, or the founders got booted, and it just kind of like, just a different drill. They didn't get booted. They just didn't get, they were just over it. But a lot did get shut down. And then I don't know. We were just very lucky to buy it back. It was our baby. We're like, okay, we're getting this back. But this time we thought, let's not put all our chips back on the table. Let's do it a little differently this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
then
you buy it back and then continue to grow it.
And what happened? Yeah. And then we grew it from roughly like 34 million to 100 million. And we sold it for 2 times sales, roughly 13 times earnings for like 194 million. And what was the year was that? I think it was 17. Yeah, 18. Yeah. So that was fun. That was really fun.
Wow.
No, 17, I think. Sorry, I'm bad on my year right now, 17 or 18. But and it was awesome. I mean, those partners too, you got to really be careful with who you get in bed with, with partnerships, because we had a great experience with Liz Claiborne. We had a great experience with Steel Point Marketing. Steel Point Investors, sorry. They were just awesome. They're a local company here in Solana Beach, and just really like-minded. And they were like Liz Claiborne. They didn't come in and want to change everything. They weren't intimidated by us. They backed you. This, a lot of people get founder fear, and anybody that's been around the block knows that doesn't work. But these guys both knew that, but not everybody knows that. And I see it sadly happen to a lot of people that sell their company, and then they, just everyone's intimidated or insecure about the founder, and then they end up getting booted. But anyways, that we had 2 great deals, and then we got an offer from Columbia that we couldn't refuse, so we sold to Columbia Sportswear, and that was 194 million. So that was a pretty big jump. Everybody did really well, and was really rewarded, but it was a grind. We did a lot of restructuring. We figured out how we could do it with marketing and branding and growth without losing the core values of the company, and not becoming, something for everybody, and just staying core. But not a lot of people like to do that either. But
Mhm. So how was the deal structured? Did you guys have to stay at Columbia? Did you leave
that
after a little while?
Yeah, no, we that one we got a full buyout. And it was structured strangely. At first it was, yeah, we want this, and have you guys, just on board. And then it was kind of like a change of tune. There was founder fear, threatening. I don't know. Some people felt threatened, even the people that we hired to replace us, which was really crazy. But it happens. And sometimes, looking back, I'm sure people are like, I'm not sure what, that was all about. But um, it's hard, because you build a team and you build a family and you build a thing, and your employees are family. So they're excited to see you, and they're, super stoked to, when you come in the building and stuff like that. But not everybody wants that. So, after they buy it, they want it to be, they want to be the one pounding on their chest. Not that we ever did that, but, they want victory and claim to fame for stuff. So it kind of changed, and that happens a lot with exits. It does, no matter what anybody says. There's always a little bit of a flip side to it. So we were very lucky with our first couple, and we're very lucky with Columbia now. It just didn't. It could have been way smoother.
Hmm.
And that's all. And um, in hindsight, it was, they're great people. They just do things a little differently than we did.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just like a quick culture, not clash, but two cultures coming together.
For sure. And the reason they bought us was to be different, and then kind of changed that too, and then just made it like, a Me Too kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. But they're doing great. They're growing. They're, very mass. They're just definitely, they're not the core group of athletes and stuff. I mean, they blatantly started using models versus, we had world renowned athletes doing all our, our advertising and stuff. And people love that because they relate to it. And, all of a sudden and for 20 plus years, it was like that. So then all of a sudden you've got models just kind of like pointing out into nowhere, and you lose. People see right through that stuff.
Hmm.
That's like, wait a minute, where is, blah, blah, blah. So it happens, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So for the first time entrepreneurs out there, the young entrepreneurs that maybe are starting their first business, or they've been running their own business for a little while, what would you say timing wise was important to you when it came to exiting the business? Why was that the right time for you guys to get sold?
Well, all the stars aligned, and the market was hot, and it made sense. You got to make sure though that you don't keep taking partners and money, because then you don't have an exit strategy. Because you're diluted. And so my first thing of advice would be to have a point of difference, grow slowly and conscientiously, and just have a reason. Have just don't do another reason, or another brand for no reason. Like, have point of difference. And then when everything like seems right, and people will offer you money, people, they do come to you, then it's right. Or when it's feels like it's not fun anymore, maybe then that's another one. But I just say run with it. The quick turn, that I don't know that if that's so for me. I just like the long haul, because it's always worth it.
Hmm.
You get in what you get in what you put in, get out what you put in. Sorry, pardon.
Yeah. And how would you say people should prepare? I think that that's something that's common in in questions about exits and the mystery around it is how
100.
would you prepare a business for the exit itself?
Well, I think you also have to prepare mentally because you know, you go, I don't really have a problem with that because I was so excited to just have some free time. But a lot of people get like depressed, like they don't have,
Mhm.
because when you become like, when your whole life is one thing, um, I think you can get real depressed when you sell. So, and then all of a sudden, you're kind of not needed or whatever. But when you keep a lot on your plate, it's kind of fun. And I don't know, we've both always done that. So it wasn't a problem adjusting. But I think so mentally prepare and then preparing when you, for sure, the best advice I think I can give is make sure you hire people that carry the torch correctly because then you can rest at night knowing, I remember hiring a few designers going, I'm good. I am so good. This person, when I'm not here, I know will make the right stuff. Like when you're in awe of what they do. Um, and I just think that's a really important thing and put the pieces of the puzzle in line. So, it's easy to just keep rolling with, the vibe that you started.
Mm-hmm. And that's a fantastic segue into the finale question, which is knowing what you know now, what would you tell Pam 10 years ago?
Oh boy. I would say make sure that you have all your, you know, pivotal like points of customer touch and feel covered. I think we dropped the ball with that a little bit in our marketing side. Trusted that it would, work itself out, and it really has changed. And with that, you lose core, and you can look at Vans, look at all these huge billion-dollar companies. They're still core. There's plenty of them. Quick, everyone. You just so I think it's super important to have the right people in place. So when you hand over the keys and you walk away, you can sleep better at night knowing that you're covered, and it's going to go good versus when you get the catalog and you just, in the mail and you're like, whoa, what happened, man? And that's heartbreaking because it happened to me and it hurt my heart to see, like, it's one thing to change, but when you try to be everything to all, you're nothing to no one. So that, I don't know, I just feel like stay true to your core and hire the right people, and then you can rest.
Good tips. Good tips. Well, those are all the questions I have for you. What are you working on now, and where can people go learn more?
Well, we both do a lot of charity stuff and a lot of mentoring, and would love to give back and help anybody, especially starting out, with anything that we can help them uh, with pointing them in the right direction, with leads on whatever it might be in the clothing world or anything other than anything that we can help with, because a lot of things still apply even if it's not clothing. So we'd love to do that, and um, we're working on our golf game and we're working on our fly fishing.
Excellent. Excellent.
About balance, life's balance. Like you got to keep it all in line, right? To have fun. So
True.
that's the main. Yeah, it's not all
Very
about
true.
work.
Very true. Well, those are all the questions I have for you,
That's all.
Pam. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing the story.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.